Imagine this. You pick up a book. It's a murder mystery. There are 6 victims and 6 killers. But the pages are out of order. Completely scrambled, 100 pages. No chapter numbers, no page numbers. Well, except there are some page numbers. And your task? Figure out who was killed, by whom, and in what order the story goes. That is Cain's Jawbone, one of the most difficult literary puzzles ever published. And in almost 90 years since it came out, only a couple of people have officially solved it. Today we're diving deep into the story behind this bizarre book, the man who wrote it, and why the internet is obsessed with solving it all over again. Cain's Jawbone was written in 1934 by a man named Edward Powys Mathers, but you won't see his name on the cover. Instead, he published it under the name Torquemada, a name borrowed from the Spanish Inquisition. Mathers was a real puzzle genius. He was a cryptic crossword compiler for The Observer and a well-known figure in British literary circles. The title Cain's Jawbone is a reference to the very first murder weapon written down somewhere. It's the story of Cain, the first murderer. So yeah, death and destruction right in the title. And at the time, readers could actually enter a contest, solve the puzzle, submit the correct page order and the names of the 6 murderers and their victims, and win a cash prize of £15. Seems simple, right? Well, it wasn't. Let's talk about what makes Cain's Jawbone so brutally difficult. The book contains 100 pages of prose, but they've been printed in the wrong order, completely scrambled. To solve it, you have to figure out the only correct sequence of those 100 pages. And once you've done that, you still have to identify 6 murders and figure out who killed whom. How many possible combinations are there? About 9.3 times 10 to the power of 157. That's a number with 157 zeros. So no, brute force won't help you. And believe me, I tried myself. The writing style doesn't make it easier either. Even when the pages are in the right order, the text is filled with obscure references, literary quotes, puns, wordplays, spoonerisms, fake names, and inside jokes. In fact, some clues depend on your knowledge of things like 1930s slang, Victorian literature, or classical history. It's not just a murder mystery. It's a crossword, a logic puzzle, and to conclude, a word game, all rolled into one. Back in 1935, a year after the book was published, 2 people managed to solve it. They each won £25 for submitting the correct solution. And that was it. For decades, nobody else officially solved the puzzle. The book fell out of print and it faded into literary obscurity. Until recently. In the 2010s, the book was rediscovered by Patrick Wildgust, curator of Shandy Hall in England. Working with the publisher Unbound, he helped bring Cain's Jawbone back to life. In 2019, they re-released the puzzle as a standalone book, with the pages unbound and boxed just like a jigsaw puzzle. They also revived the competition. Solve the puzzle, submit the answer and win £1,000. Only one person succeeded. His name is John Finnemore, a British comedian, writer and crossword enthusiast. He solved the puzzle during the COVID lockdown in 2020. He described it as the hardest puzzle I've ever seen, and it took him months of full-time work to get to the solution. That makes him one of the few persons in history to officially solve Cain's Jawbone. But the real explosion came thanks to TikTok. Unbound had to reprint over 70,000 copies to meet the demand, and online communities sprang up overnight. On Reddit, r/Cain's Jawbone became the go-to hub for discussion, theories and frustration. And believe me, I've been there myself. With the rise of ChatGPT and large language models, some people wondered, can artificial intelligence solve Cain's Jawbone? In 2022, the publisher Unbound launched a contest for data scientists. They released 75 of the 100 pages to an AI platform and challenged programmers to sort them into the correct order. Dozens of teams entered, but none succeeded. Why? Because this puzzle wasn't made for computers. It's full of nuance, ambiguity, and literary trickery. The kind of thing that, at least for now, still requires a human brain. And honestly, that's part of the charm. Today, Cain's Jawbone is known as the most difficult literary puzzle ever written. And it's now been translated into multiple languages, including French, German, and Spanish. But that's not the end of the story. And by the way, if you want to know more about translation of these kind of puzzles, click here. John Finnemore, the most recent famous solver, began working on a spiritual sequel. It's called The Researcher's First Murder. And if you want to know more about that, I've got plenty of videos on my channel. Subscribe and watch all those videos. It was released in August 2024. And yes, it's another literary puzzle in the same brutal tradition. So what makes Cain's Jawbone so special? It's not the difficulty, it's the depth. It challenges how we read, how we think, and how we solve problems. It's a book that actively resists being read. But for those few who manage to crack it, it offers one of the most satisfying literary experiences imaginable. Think you can solve Cain's Jawbone? Just grab your copy or find it online, there are plenty of copies, and let me know in the comments, and if you already tried, share your progress below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and solve this puzzle. Thank you for watching. Bye.